Chapter 1206, Not Afraid of the Daylight Flames in Bulow City. If Lu Kongming was right, and he had been thrown here by the old king of gods because he had cut the memorial, then there was one question. Why did the mysterious young man, Miao Miao, chase after and kill him? Did Miao Miao work for Yu Fuyao? But there was another problem. Miao Miao did not know what was happening outside. Lu Kongming probably would not tell Miao Miao what he had done outside either. But Lu Shu was sure of one thing. Wen Zaifu had killed Yu Fuyao's messenger, and Yu Fuyao was not as good as he had imagined. Lu Shu was not making a final conclusion about Yu Fuyao. He just felt that he had to be alert. Lu Shu stared at Lu Kongming. If you are not being honest now, you have an 80% chance of dying. If you destroyed the memorial, then it should be between Wen Zaifu and Yu Fuyao. Why are you locked up here? Lu Kongming mysterious said, because I found a massive secret in the memorial. Did Yu Fuyao write a love poem for the old king of gods? Lu Shu furrowed his eyebrows. Lu Kongming was shocked. Who in the world are you? Why do you know what was written in Yu Fuyao's memorial? Lu Kongming was definitely shocked. He started to doubt Lu Shu's identity. He knew many secrets about the universe, and was extremely strong. How did a young expert they had never heard of before appear in the universe? Lu Shu thought about it. He had seen Yu Fuyao's memorial. The first few pages were filled with love poems, but suddenly, it was blank. At first, Lu Shu had thought that Yu Fuyao had given up. But when he thought about it again, it was likely that she did not write anything in the memorial because it had been destroyed. Had anything else happened? Don't worry about who I am, said Lu Shu cheerfully. Even if I tell you, you would not understand. But I am sure that the reason you were sent here is not that simple. The mysterious young man would not chase after and kill you for no reason. It's because I did research on the technique to steal bodies. Lu Kongming sighed. He did not plan on struggling anymore. He was slightly scared of Lu Shu. He felt that Lu Shu knew more than he did. He did not want to be tricked. Furthermore, he secretly wanted to stick with Lu Shu. This might be his chance to see the sky once again. Indeed, stealing bodies seems to offend heaven and reason. Lu Shu thought about it and said, were there no such techniques in the universe? No, but many people want it, said Lu Kongming. The rank 1 experts in this world only have a lifespan of 800 years, while masters only have a few thousand years to live. But there is no end to the desire of humans. If they have the technique to steal bodies, then it would be different. They would be able to grow old with unfailing senses. They simply have to change their bodies. Lu Shu understood. If he discovered that this kind of people existed, he would lock them up as well. Firstly, there were no good intentions behind researching this technique. Furthermore, if this technique was leaked out, the world order of the universe would be badly affected. So the old king of gods captured you? Lu Shu asked curiously, didn't Wen Zaifu protect you? No. Wen Zaifu personally handed me over to the old king of gods. Lu Kongming sighed. I never expected Wen Zaifu to not let things slide. I even wanted to present the technique to him. Lu Shu sighed. He had always thought that Wen Zaifu was a good person. If this was suddenly overturned, Lu Shu could not bear it. Then, if Wen Zaifu had been suspicious of Yu Fuyao, something was very wrong. Then why did the mysterious young man chase after and kill you? Lu Shu asked curiously. Because of the technique, Lu Kongming calmly said, but he probably didn't expect that I would still linger on to my last breath after he killed me. Your technique is rather special. Lu Shu nodded his head. Do you know the mysterious young man? Do you know what Bulow City is like? I don't know him. I have never heard of him before, said Lu Kongming. But I know Bulow City. It is a city in the sky. It is said that the daylight flame burns forever there. Furthermore, the mysterious young man is here to protect that flame. Do you know what his real name is? He asked this as 2 days ago, he had looked through the distress points to find Meow Meow's name. He wanted to find distress points from him, but could not find anything. Lu Shu did not believe that Meow Meow could not find him, nor that Meow Meow did not give him any distress points. There was a possibility that Meow Meow was simply a nickname and not his real name. No one in this world could not give him distress points. Lu Kongming shook his head. I have never heard of him in the Luniverse. I have been alive for a long time, but I have never heard of him. Even the other clan masters have never heard of him. When Lu Kongming mentioned the clan masters, Lu Shu's expression turned strange. He asked, "How did you come up with that flattering clan name? Are you that shameless?" Lu Kongming was upset. Flattery is my talent. What gives you the right to call me shameless? Although the old king of gods locked me up here, he is brighter than the sun and the moon in my heart. That Li Chixian can call his clan the Chixian clan, so my clan will have something with my name too. Lu Shu was dumbfounded. Isn't your name Lu Kongming? My nickname is God Lu. Are you healthy? Lu Kongming explained. Okay, stop talking. Lu Shu realized that there was something wrong with him. Aren't there any consequences of taking someone else's body? Definitely. After taking someone's body, there will be a recovery period of a few decades. It will take a long time for one's strength and spirit to return to their peak. But to a master, who has a lifespan of 1,000 years, this is nothing, said Lu Kongming. Do you know where Bulow City is? Lu Shu asked. If you can find me a suitable body, I will tell you, said Lu Kongming. Do you still have the right to bargain? Lu Shu picked his eyebrows. But if you don't find me a body, I will be gone before I can bring you to Bulow City, said Lu Kongming. What kind of body do you want? Lu Shu asked. Healthy, strong, and of rank 1 strength. Lu Kongming exclaimed. Are you sure? Lu Shu asked. Yes, the body must fulfill these requirements. Any regrets? No. Then, Lu Kongming looked on helplessly as Lu Shu retrieved a blazing cloudful out of nowhere. Lu Kongming was dumbfounded. Brother, at least find me a human. From Lu Kongming's Distress, plus 666. Chapter 1207, Fortress in the Clouds. Lu Kongming did not expect Lu Shu to get a horse for him. By logic, a human would definitely steal another person. However, the young man in front of him had a unique train of thought. Lu Shu smiled happily. In the past, you had to suck up to others. Now, others have to suck up to you, aren't you happy? Lu Kongming looked at the blazing cloudfuls. Are you a demon? He had really a suck up to Lu Shu. From Lu Kongming's Distress, plus 666. What do you think? Whose body do you want to steal? Lu Shu was unhappy. It's good enough to have a horse. Do you want it? If not, you haven't reached the stage of extreme exhaustion that you have described to be. This argument was common. For example, if one was picky, one was not hungry enough. Therefore, did Lu Shu purposely take a horse out to disgust Lu Kongming? Lu Shu would definitely not admit it. In his opinion, he was testing if Lu Kongming had really exhausted almost all his strength. Can we discuss this further? Lu Kongming was trying very hard to turn his fate around. Lu Shu was impatient. The most I will do is to change a horse for you. Deal with it yourself. Lu Kongming had never stolen a body apart from that of a human's. Or else, he would have definitely stolen a body of a creature who ran into that cave in the past hundreds of years. However, he realized after advancing to the Master Realm, that there was a huge difference between a human and a creature. If he had rashly stolen the body of a creature, he would probably never get the chance of returning to the Master Realm again. Now, it was his only chance. He did not lie to Lu Shu, he knew that he had exhausted almost all his strength. The previous time when he stole the body of the helicopter pilot, he had spent too much energy but still failed in the end. He could barely do anything now. If he gave up this opportunity, he would probably have no more opportunities left. Hurry up, without you, I can still look for other clan masters to bring me to Bulow City, rushed Lu Shu. Lu Kongming made up his mind. All right, I will take this horse. To him, even if he was unable to get his human body temporarily after stealing the body of the horse, there was a chance for him to return to his human form if he attained the Master Realm in the future. He still had a chance. Lu Shu felt a small amount of energy leave from his body and entered the skull of the blazing cloud foals. Then, the gaze of the blazing cloud foals became more alive. Did it succeed? Lu Shu asked curiously. If so, say something. Free me after we reach Bulow City, said the blazing cloud foals. Lu Shu understood that it was a success. He said after a while, look, I won't dare to release you as you may cause disruption to the rest of the world. I won't be able to catch you if you left with this skill. After all, it will be really difficult to find you if you change your look and name. However, if you bring me to Bulow City, I will give you a present. Lu Kongming regretted it. If he had known that he would become public enemy number 1 because of this skill, he would not have spent so much effort on practicing it. In reality, the Lord of Heaven probably had the same concern as Lu Shu. One could not grant Lu Kongming freedom as he would probably become the longest living creature on earth. When everyone died because of their age, Lu Kongming could continue to live on and nobody would be able to find him as he had changed his entire body. Perhaps, Lu Shu was the only one who could find Lu Kongming as he could confirm his identity through his name. However, that would be extremely troublesome. What present will you give me? Asked Lu Kongming. Rest assured, you will like it, affirmed Lu Shu. Now, tell me, where's Bulow City? In the sky, said Lu Kongming. Lu Shu looked into the empty sky before looking at the blazing cloud foals Lu Kongming. Are you sure? Yes, said Lu Kongming firmly, although I only saw the outline of Bulow City, it is definitely in the sky, in the clouds. Lu Shu frowned. It was indeed hidden in the sky. No wonder, nobody knew about the secret of Bulow City. There was lightning in the sky and nobody could fly around casually. Therefore, it was difficult for one to find out where Bulow City was. Meanwhile, Meow Meow was able to enter the Forbidden Land freely. Could it be that he was unafraid of lightning like Coral and hence could live in the sky? That was highly likely. Where is the approximate location? Asked Lu Shu. Lu Kongming confirmed the direction and said, 800 miles to the east. Let's go. Lu Shu walked in front. He was extremely interested in Bulow City. Chen Zuan suddenly said in happiness along the way, Brother Shu, did you realize? Lu Shu turned and looked at him. Do you think that our team lacks something? Said Chen Zuan happily. Lu Shu felt that Chen Zuan was a little strange. What do we lack? We lack Shaowujing, 1, said Chen Zuan. Are you planning to go the west to obtain sacred texts? 2, said Lu Shu angrily. Coral was Tang Sang, Lu Shu was the Monkey King, Chen Zuan was Zhu Beiji, and they had a low-quality white horse. Now, they were only lacking Cheng Qiuqiao. They wondered how Cheng Qiuqiao was doing. Lu Xiaoyu too. Lu Shu was confused. He had attempted to contact Lu Xiaoyu with a clone but failed as the other party refused to reveal his clone. Why was this so? Xiaoyu, wait for me. Cheng Qiuqiao shouted, are we not looking for Brother Shu? No, Lu Shu is probably in Luken City. Lu Xiaoyu walked casually in front. The news reported that he made several strange announcements in Tongwan City and Qixuan City. Although we don't know what he is up to, he is definitely sabotaging the group of foreign practitioners. Cheng Qiuqiao exclaimed, Xiaoyu, you really understand Brother Shu. Where are we heading to? Lu Xiaoyu suddenly stopped and looked up at the sky. Here. The soul of the clan master of the Tonghuan clan has been completely digested by me. Meanwhile, the fortress hidden in the sky is the most mysterious place in this remains. There's a fortress up there? Chang Qiuqiao asked in astonishment. In the sky? Why are we looking for that? Lu Xiaoyu said calmly, I took this punishment for him. Xiaoyu, what are you talking about? Asked Chang Qiuqiao. However, Lu Xiaoyu did not reply to him. At this moment Chang Qiuqiao suddenly realized that the ground was being lifted. Lu Xiaoyu did not use her flying ability but instead made Anthony build a mountain that rose to the sky. It was windy and the clouds seemed to be in their reach. There was no lightning. This method did not trigger any restrictions from the sky. Miao Miao, who was in Luken City, looked towards the direction of Bulow City and coldly said, Who dares to intrude Bulow City? After he said that, the mysterious young man sped towards Bulow City. Chapter 1208, Punishment. The mysterious young man was sitting casually as though nothing happened in the palace. The city leader of Luken City was trembling beside him. Then, he saw the mysterious young man leap into the sky filled with lightning. However, when the lightning struck the mysterious young man, it did not seem to have any effect on him. The mysterious young man acted as though he was not satisfied with his speed. He tore open the void and charged into it. The method of charging into the void could be learnt by oneself if one was a master. However, one had to know what was one's target first. To put it simply, one had to reach that position first. This was nothing for Miao Miao. He was the leader of Bulow City and had been guarding the place for several hundreds of years. Lu Xiaoyu and Cheng Qiuqiao flew up into the sky with the help of the mountains. When the mountain reached the clouds, they suddenly saw a floating fortress above the clouds. The fortress was like a mountain that had clouds beneath it. The clouds looked extremely majestic and was endless. At this moment, Lu Xiaoyu suddenly felt that the restriction of the remains was solely to prevent the fortress from being invaded. Perhaps, the person who made this restriction did not think about how someone was able to build a mountain out of nothing. However, Lu Xiaoyu could do it. This place was the core of the remains. There was no doubt about that. A stone ladder appeared out of the blue on the mountain. The steps were made by soil and extended into the sky. At last, it connected to the place where the fortress was located. Lu Xiaoyu frowned as she stood in front of the closed gates. She suddenly stopped and held on to Cheng Qiuqiao, be careful. Then, Miao Miao stepped out of the void and looked at Lu Xiaoyu. Who are you? Scram, said Lu Xiaoyu emotionlessly. For some reason, Miao Miao understood something from looking at Lu Xiaoyu's expression. Then, he suddenly laughed, although I don't know where you got the information from, but this is a punishment he has prepared for himself. How would you be able to overcome it? What F*** king punishment? If it is a punishment, I will be able to overcome it for him, said Lu Xiaoyu. A huge amount of white sand floated around him. She was about to attack if Miao Miao did not move aside. Miao Miao sighed, you won't be able to understand your own heart if you don't overcome this punishment. If you don't understand your own feelings, how would you be able to control the spirits and all the emotions on earth? I'm not trying to make things difficult for you, but I was originally told by him to be in charge of guarding this place. Shut up, said Lu Xiaoyu, move aside. Sorry. Miao Miao apologized to Lu Xiaoyu and suddenly laughed, although you have good intentions, but I am the one with the final say here. I don't care if you are powerful. Then, Lu Xiaoyu saw the clouds shrouding towards her and Cheng Qiuqiao. At this moment, Lu Shu, who was moving at full speed, suddenly froze. Nearby, he saw a mountain grow rapidly. He said, it's Xiaoyu. Lu Xiaoyu knew Lu Shu the best. Similarly, Lu Shu knew Lu Xiaoyu the best. Could anyone else in the world have the ability to build a mountain out of nothing? No. It was definitely not a coincidence for Lu Xiaoyu to appear in the direction of Bulow City. Lu Shu looked at the blazing cloud folds beside him and said, "Not bad, it's not a lie." Lu Kongming said angrily, "Where's my present?" Then, he saw Lu Shu get a blazing cloud folds out of nowhere. From Lu Kongming's distress, plus 666. Lu Kongming was about to break down. "Why did you get me a horse? Aren't you a horse too? Why are you looking down on others?" smiled Lu Shu. "Hold on," Lu Kongming suddenly felt that something was wrong. "You should at least get me a female horse, why did you get me a male horse?" Lu Shu said after pausing for a moment, "Did you not realize that you are a female horse?" Lu Kongming was confused. From Lu Kongming's distress, plus 999. Lu Shu smiled awkwardly. "I'm sorry, I made a mistake earlier on." Lu Kongming was mad. "You must have done it on purpose, you must have." For ordinary people who had never ridden a horse before, what was their first reaction when they saw a horse? Was it to check if the horse was a male or female? Most people would not think about that, as they would not bother about the horse's gender. After all, if they could not even differentiate between the different species of horses, they could only think of one thing, horse. Therefore, Lu Kongming, as an ordinary person, had completely neglected this. When he realized the problem, it was too late. At this moment, when the male horse appeared, it leaped immediately on Lu Kongming. Lu Kongming was mad, King leave me alone. Chen Zuan smiled happily beside him. What an active hormone, only if I could attract girls like that. Lu Shu glared at Chen Zuan's figure. What active hormone are you talking about? You seem more like an active cholesterol. Chen Zuan was dumbstruck. From Chen Zuan's distress, plus 666. Brother Shu, can you stop pissing everyone around you off? Chen Zuan was speechless. However, he looked at Coral and suddenly realized that Lu Shu had never pissed Coral before. Then, the clouds moved in the sky and Lu Shu stopped Chen Zuan. I have to go first, follow up behind. Something must have happened to Lu Xiaoyu, I have to rush over. Something must have gone wrong since the clouds behaved so strangely suddenly. Okay, nodded Coral, we will catch up with you. After that, Lu Shu flew into the sky. He was faster than everyone else, so he would have been slowed down if he brought Coral and Chen Zuan along. However, he could not use the skill of stepping into the void as he had never entered Bulow City before. Therefore, he could only fly over. The lightning in the sky gathered again and Lu Shu took the opportunity to take the burning seizing thief out. He got rid of all the lightning with his strikes. The lightning gathered above Lu Shu's head again. Like black flowers, they blossomed again and again on top of him, however, Lu Shu needed to act fast. As the lightning accumulated, Lu Shu became impatient. The seizing thief on his hand swirled into the clouds with the fire blaze, scram. The dark cloud was split into half and disappeared. Chen Zuan looked at Lu Shu before looking at Coral and asked, "Do you know something?" Coral looked at Chen Zuan and smiled, although I am not sure what will happen, but are you all ready? He is probably coming back soon. Stop being mysterious, mumbled Chen Zuan. Chapter 1209, Life. Chen Zuan felt as if he was left in the dark, while everyone else knew what was going on. He looked at Lu Shu, who was enduring the difficulties and flying to Bulow City. Suddenly, he felt somewhat foreign. There was an unfamiliar spirit within that familiar figure. This made Chen Zuan feel insecure. Coral said that he would return, but Chen Zuan felt that the one that returned was possibly no longer Lu Shu. Other people might not feel this way, as to them, the ninth heavenly king was simply a symbol. They did not need to care about his personality or interactions. He only had to be strong and mysterious. But to Chen Zuan, the ninth heavenly king was not that simple. He had experienced many things with Lu Shu. From the Salt Lake remains, they had gone through life and death together, although more accurately, Lu Shu risked his life, while he followed along. But what Chen Zuan needed was not a powerful comrade. He needed a friend. No matter how they joked about it, and no matter how harsh Lu Shu typically was, Chen Zuan could still laugh freely and wildly explore at the verge of death. If that person was no longer Lu Shu, but another spirit, would it still be the same? They would no longer eat hot pot together or joke around together. No one would ask Chen Zuan why he was no longer wearing a hat either. This kind of life was very lonely. I don't want him to come back, said Chen Zuan in a deep voice. Coral looked at Chen Zuan, puzzled. Chen Zuan lowered his head. His expression was hidden in the shadows. I like the current Brother Shu more. Don't you think that Brother Shu is pretty good? Coral thought about it. Suddenly, she laughed. You're right. We'll have to see his decision. The clouds in the sky were peaceful before Lu Shu arrived. When Lu Shu flew to the entrance of Bulow City, the tightly shut doors suddenly opened with a crash. Inside, there were no streets or anything else. There was only a black star. It seemed infinitely deep. Lu Shu did not think much about it. He held the seizing thief and walked in. The flames of the seizing thief displayed his emotions. He wanted to find Lu Xiaoyu. But the moment he stepped in, he felt like a sculpture while maintaining his stride. The entire world was under the strangest rule. Lu Shu felt empty, as if he had forgotten many things. His memories had been engulfed by a mist. He was at a loss. The burglar-proof door of an old house opened in front of him. It was a scorching hot season. Inside the house, there were a few plates of food on the dining table. Although they did not look like much, they seemed to go particularly well with rice. The faint lights were lit up. A warm and aged woman carried a bowl of rice and walked out of the kitchen. She smiled at him. Xiao Shu, are you back from school? Go wash your hands and eat. Lu Shu was dumbfounded for 3 seconds. Mom? The warm woman furrowed her eyebrows. Did you do poorly on your exams again? I will call your form teacher later and ask about your performance at school. Lu Shu pondered. He felt that something was wrong, but everything felt natural. He felt slightly guilty. My performance at school has been rather good. The old world seemed to have been destroyed. The new world had arrived. The past had been locked up. He no longer had those deep memories. Lu Shu, a 17-year-old third-year high school student. He seemed very normal. He had everything everyone else had. When he was 17 years old, he worked hard and studied in his third year of high school. Like a majority of third-year high school students, he ran with everything he had. It was the peak of his youth. He did not regret anything. He did not do quite well for the final mock exam before his high school exams. Lu Shu felt that he would only be able to attend a second-tier university. When he was 18 years old, he completed his high school exams and entered university. During his graduation ceremony, a girl confessed to him. She was the prettiest girl in class. Many people liked her. She could play the piano and lived in a large mansion. It was said that after she graduated from high school, her family gave her a car. But Lu Shu rejected her. Everyone looked at Lu Shu, puzzled. They did not know why Lu Shu had made this decision. Lu Shu himself did not know either. He stood in the sports ground. It was a hot summer afternoon. Weeds had started to grow. The scorching sun shone on the sports ground, like a sea of light. Lu Shu felt as if he was waiting for someone. Thus, he could not accept the girl's confession. When Lu Shu turned 21, he was in his third year of university. Students had started to prepare to take the graduate entrance exams, but Lu Shu was not willing to continue wasting time in the ivory tower. His grades were normal. His teachers neither liked nor disliked him. They did not even have an impression of him. During this period, a girl chased Lu Shu. She was not good-looking, but she was not ugly either. Lu Shu told her that he was waiting for his fated one. She left while crying. That day, it rained heavily. Lu Shu distractedly stood on the sports ground. He felt as if he was forgetting something. It was as if the most important thing was gone. When he returned to his bedroom, the fact that he had rejected a girl has started to spread. His roommates ridiculed him. "Shu, you are like a blockhead. You have been single for so long. We have never seen you like anyone. Why are you acting like you are finding your fated one?"
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Lu Shu did not say anything, as he did not know who he was waiting for either. When Lu Shu was 22 years old, he graduated from university. He had a normal educational background and was from a normal family. It was very difficult for him to find a very good job. While his classmates flew far and high, Lu Shu remained where he was. His 1-month salary never seemed to be enough, no matter what he did. If he did not date anyone, he would barely have some surplus. A classmate who opened a factory invited Lu Shu to work with him. Lu Shu rejected. He watched as his friend drove away in a branded car. When Lu Shu was 27 years old, he had attended many weddings. Some classmates were even having their second child. Fewer and fewer people attended gatherings. They were often too busy with work or were busy with their children. There was almost no one at the gatherings. Only a few lonely people drank and shared stories. One of his classmates suddenly said, "Did you know that the prettiest girl in our class is still single? She has always liked you." Lu Shu shook his head. "I already have someone in my heart." His classmates laughed out loud. "Stop it. How can we not know whether you have anyone in your heart?" His parents started to arrange dates for Lu Shu. He had no choice but to accept this awkward decision. He had seen over 10 ladies, but none of them were the person he was waiting for. Slowly, Lu Shu himself started to move. Where in the world was that person? While they were drinking, they gave Lu Shu advice. They started to sigh. "Shu, most people do not marry the person they like best. Everyone has changed from, it must be you too, you will do. You have to make do." Chapter 12:10, One Person, One City. When Lu Shu was 28 years old, his parents started to worry for him. They even brought him to see a doctor, a physiologist, and even a psychiatrist. Lu Shu told the psychiatrist what he had been thinking about for many years. He was waiting for someone. The psychiatrist comforted him for a long time. Then, he wrote in his medical records that he had paranoia. When Lu Shu was 29 years old, his best friend got married. Lu Shu was the best man. The dowry was a car. Lu Shu asked his friend whether he loved her. His friend replied, "Let's forget about love. It's good enough to live. Why are we talking about love at this age? When you were 5 years old, you would run to a field 1 kilometer away for a butterfly. When you were 10 years old, you would run through the streets and lanes to find an ice cream. When you were 19 years old, you would go to a foreign city just for a person you liked. When you were 29 years old, you would simply find anyone to spend the rest of your life with." His friend said that he was growing more lazy. He was lazy to love and be loved. Lu Shu looked at the red best man flower on his chest. Then, he looked at the beautiful bridesmaid beside him. His friend said, "This lady is still single. She is not bad. Her house is rather big. Her parents have stable jobs. She herself is a teacher." The wedding ceremony was bustling. A group of people Lu Shu did not know drank and chatted loudly at the tables. They joked about the new husband and wife, and how the best man and the bridesmaid were a good match. Lu Shu was muddled. Perhaps the lady beside him was not bad? He sensed that she was interested in him, as the bride had told her that Lu Shu had been successful in his job for the past few years. While others were obsessed with love, he was working hard. He was working hard even when others got married and had children. His current salary was decent. The male MC recited the oath. The bride said, "I love you." The bride replied, "I love you too." Lu Shu did not know whether they were saying this to each other. It was time for the bouquet throwing session. Whoever caught the bouquet would have good luck in marriage. Lu Shu's friend intentionally asked his wife to throw the bouquet at Lu Shu. But the bouquet flew in front of Lu Shu and dropped on the ground. The bridesmaid picked it up, but Lu Shu was spacing out. There was suddenly an ache in his heart. "Where were you?" The MC suddenly laughed and asked, "Best man, why are you crying?" Lu Shu snapped back. "Oh. I am happy for my good friend." The MC clapped. What a good friend. After the wedding, Lu Shu went to the groom's house. He saw the beautiful bride sit with her legs crossed on the sofa. When Lu Shu was 30 years old, his friend's wife was pregnant. She quit her job to raise their family and took care of their children. Lu Shu's friend asked Lu Shu why he was not married yet. Lu Shu said that he was still waiting. His friend laughed out loud. "Lu Shu, you are very funny." When Lu Shu was 31 years old, his friend wanted to borrow money from him. He said that he would need to spend a few $100,000 on childbirth and his child's first month party. He could no longer afford it. Lu Shu lent him the money and smiled. "I don't really need the money. You can slowly return the money, but if you don't return the money, there won't be a next time." His friend said, "Relax. Seeing my child is like seeing my new life." Lu Shu was slightly jealous, but he still wanted to wait. He waited for 15 years. When he was 46 years old, his high school classmates had a gathering. The prettiest girl in their class had grown much fatter. She looked at Lu Shu in hesitation. Then, she laughed. "You still look the same." Lu Shu looked at himself in the mirror of the toilet. It was as if time was punishing him to wait for a person for his entire life, until his death. Someone asked him how old his children were. Lu Shu replied that he was not married. Everyone was shocked. "Are you still waiting for that person?" Lu Shu remained silent for very long. Then, he replied, "Yes, I'm still waiting." His good friend asked, "Must it be her?" Lu Shu hesitated for a very long time. In the end, he said, "Yes, it must be her." When Lu Shu was 47 years old, the economy went into recession. Lu Shu lost his job. His juniors in the workplace were burning with passion. Lu Shu was no longer at an age where he could exert himself. He could not compete with the young people. When Lu Shu was 50 years old, he went for a drink with his good friend. His good friend came to his house. They no longer needed to have a big drinking party or a feast. They had lived more than half of their lifespan. It was as if they could understand everything. They only needed 2 bottles of white wine. After his good friend had drank until his face was red, he said that his body was growing worse. His life was plain. He only had daily necessities. His wife's family was unhappy with him. His children had to attend many tutoring lessons. He had to spend money in many areas. There were times when he almost collapsed when his wife looked through their accounts at midnight. Kindergarten cost over $1,000 or even a few $1,000s per month. So did their tutoring lessons. They spent a few $100,000 every year. But when he looked at his children's expectant gaze, he was not willing to admit that he could no longer bear it. He wanted his own life too. His good friend said that his children were his pride. Their academics were much better than his. He wanted to create good conditions for his children. When they started to apply for jobs, he told them to find a good job. However, his children were not willing to apply to them. It was as if there was a massive gap between the parents and their children. It was impossible to overcome. The children looked at their father and said, "I don't want to live like you." His good friend said that after his children started to work, they slowly understood him. But he wanted to tell them not to compromise for life and for the world. As he spoke, his eyes grew red. He said, "This alcohol is really strong." When they drank at 56 years old, his friend was very silent. He said to Lu Shu, "Did you know? I'm jealous of you. You are all alone. You never have to compromise." Lu Shu was pained. "I have wanted to compromise, but I have waited for so many years. I only have a bit more left." His good friend asked, "What if she never comes?" Lu Shu, who had been hesitating, suddenly said, "Then I'll wait for another lifetime." When Lu Shu was 80 years old, his good friend fell very ill. Lu Shu came to his sickbed. His good friend pulled down the oxygen mask and said, "The past few days, the 80 years of my life have been like lantern slides, flashing past one by one. Everything I've regretted and not regretted came clearly into view." Lu Shu held his hand. His skin was loose. It was like a layer covering his body. It might fall off at any moment. His good friend suddenly cried. "Last night, I had a dream. I dreamed that we were back in that sports ground. We watched people play basketball in spring. Do you remember the girl who confessed to me? She passed me a bottle of mineral water. I looked back at the sports ground that was full of weeds. The people around us were excitedly shouting. The noisy and bustling world was shouting, 'Together! Together!'" When Lu Shu was 90 years old, he was on a sickbed as well. No one came to visit him. Lu Shu lay on the sickbed alone. He was like an isolated city. One person, one city, one life of heartache. Suddenly, a mysterious young man came to his room. He looked at the old Lu Shu and said, "Do you understand your intentions now?"
What does it mean to be happy? 'Cause it looks like we all don't know. Glass half full or empty, man, we just putting on a show. Try to look to the heavens.